Okay, I can record video now, but the contacts are messed up as usual. I'll figure that out later. I spent a couple hours just making sure everything else on the phone was okay. Alright, so I was trying to decide what to knap tonight, and I had this very old slab of obsidian. So I said, that's kind of different. I haven't done one of these in a while. So I'll do one. I'll do a slab of obsidian. Got my obsidian gaiters on, so I don't have to worry about the flakes in my shoes. Let's see what that is. Ooh, that looks like it might be that gray butter. That gray butter obsidian. That might be good. I forgot who I got this from. Yeah, so I spent a while trying to figure out my contacts. Oops. Well, that solves that problem. Yeah, I was working on figuring out why my contacts are all messed up. When they looked updated, I got a very old contact list. Now, it may be that it takes time for these things to update. We'll see. If not, I'll just have to remake my contact list. Little by little. So, I won't be able to contact you, but, I rarely initiate messages by phone. I usually do it by email. So the best way to contact me is through email or Instagram Messenger, and not through phone contacts. Text, I usually like to text instead of talk, because that way I can do two things at once. But I like to have an updated contact list that's up to date, so I know who's calling me, so I don't have to worry about who is that calling. Why do I worry about that? I don't worry about that. I just don't want to be checking my phone every time it rings. I don't want to be distracted by my phone. I turn off the ringer. Yeah, a lot of times I turn off the ringer unless I know one of my kids is going to be calling me or something. Yeah. I get a lot of spam calls. And yep, I got call blocker on and all that. Works pretty good. So, I don't like using my phone for talking or answering calls. But you can usually reach me by text. But the best way is through email. That way everything is very organized and I never lose that contact list. I never lose my emails. Those are easy to back up and they're always available. But with these phone contact things, they drive me up the wall. It used to be a big source of anxiety because of every time I'd switch phones, same old, same old. Contacts were never the same. Oh, and it got really bad when my contacts got merged with my ex-wife's contacts. It's still that way. I still can't unmerge them, even though I've tried several times, and it has worked in the past to separate them. But again, they're merged right now. because it's an old, somehow it's an old backup that still has the merged list. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if her contacts were not in the thousands. And I'm talking 3,000 and something, which is not her full contact list. If I merged with her full contact list, which I hope does not happen in this particular episode, if it does, she has over 7,000. Now, I'm missing 140 of my latest added phone numbers. 140 are gone. And I had them backed up to my cloud storage, but they're not there right now. It's funny how that works. Yeah, not there. Now, it may be because it needs time. I don't know. How much time does it need? Anyway. Yeah, so I've got like 3,000 and some contacts that I don't need, and 140 that I don't have that I do need. I do have a lot of them manually written down. So there's that. I do have a lot of contacts written down the old-fashioned way in a contact book. I should just maintain a written contacts list permanently. Just keep updating my written contact list. Because the phone contact list stuff is just driving me up the wall. And they should be in my Google account too. I haven't fully set up the Google stuff, so maybe once I get that fully set up. I was getting it set up, but I said, no, I'm going to waste my whole night. I won't be able to do anything else messing with Google. I have like 6 email addresses through Google. Why? Because I got 3 channels, 3 YouTube channels. They all have separate emails attached to them. And then I have a bunch of synced email accounts with Yahoo. From way back in the day, I got all my old Yahoo stuff synced with my Google. I guess that's not really the Google accounts, right? Anyway, I do have I still have a bunch of Google emails, and some of them I don't even use anymore. I have some from work, or one from work. Anyway, this is a nice, very nice obsidian. I don't know what happened to there. When you get a slab, you don't really know what's going on. The slab could be perfect, or it could be weird. This has a green. It's not a gray. I thought it was gray. I'm a little bit colorblind, right? So sometimes I see these things as gray. This one looks greenish. I hope that shows up a little bit. It's a nice quality obsidian. Very nice. But yeah, I was not able to preserve the whole thing, and that was surprising. I don't know why it did that. It's an unusual break. All right. So I guess I'll just biface this out. I won't spend too much time on this one. I'll biface it, and if I come up with an interesting piece to duplicate, an interesting artifact or something, I'll do that. If not, I'll just offer this for sale as a biface. It's a little one. It turned out to be a little one, yeah. It's a little over 2 3/4 or something like that. So yeah, my phone now has plenty of storage. But everything's acting up at the same time, right? My phone acted up, my car is acting up, my van. And then one of my sons is having a little difficulty in school, or getting his stuff organized so he can do his schoolwork. So I helped him with that. So I got a lot of errands to do, which cuts down on my napping time. Napping time is always seems to be very limited, even though it seems like I would have the whole day because I'm not working a regular job. Yeah. So here I am back to napping kind of late. I don't know how late it is actually. I lost track of time. All I know is the dogs got quiet, so I must be kind of late. They've all kind of retired to their little sleeping spots. Now, what do I do here? What am I doing here? I'm being a little too aggressive on this one side. I still got to get rid of the original surface on that side. Yeah, I'm trying to do a flattening on this side so I don't have to mess with it, and then I'll flatten that side out, or flake this side out. But I'm taking too much off. I am trying to thin at the same time I'm flattening and flaking, but I'm doing a little bit too much thinning. Yeah, too much thinning is not good. Is there such a thing as too much thinning? Oh yes. Is there a difference? What's the main differences between obsidian and other stuff when I'm using steel? The main difference is the way I abrade. It might not look any different, but there's a slight difference in the abrading. It's actually easier to abrade the obsidian than chert, so it doesn't require as much time, but there's actually more rounding going on the edge. Now with a high quality obsidian, I don't get the crushing, as long as there's sufficient rounding. Now if I'm using antler to knap obsidian, the obsidian eats through the antler extremely fast. The way I knap, apparently, the way I knap eats up my natural tools very, very fast. Faster than other people. Faster than a lot of other guys. And that is especially true with the obsidian. You would think that obsidian would be easier to knap, or less harsh on the natural tools, but not with me. Anyway, if I was to do this with natural tools, the grinding is slightly different. But I had to adapt to the circumstances. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what the differences are. You just have to adapt as you go. Well, that's the way I do it anyway. I adapt as I go. If I braid a little bit and I strike a flake and it crushes, I need to abrade more. If it still crushes, I gotta abrade more. If it's acting weird, I'll abrade a little bit here, a little bit there, different extent of, like, I'll, instead of abrading the whole edge the same way, I'll abrade it more down here and less up here and see if that makes a difference, and that sort of thing. Maybe you guys, the new guys, don't know this, but it is beneficial to constantly adapt, constantly tweak as you go along. Yeah. As you get more skilled, you know how to tweak. Now, in the beginning, it's good for you to know that eventually you'll be tweaking these things. In the beginning, though, you won't know how to tweak it. So you just got to do the same thing over and over again and see how it works. If you're new, be aware that eventually you'll be tweaking this, but in the beginning, you won't be able to. You'll just be able to do the same thing over and over and over. And then eventually you'll get the hang of adjusting yourself. If you want to nap the way I nap. How is the way I nap different? I adjust my technique to the edge. I don't adjust the edge to my technique. Okay? I adjust my technique to the edge. I'm opportunistic. I don't create normally I don't create very specific striking areas unless the flake is extremely critical. And you can tell, I'll let you know when this flake is critical. Or that flake is critical, or whatever. I'll just say, okay, this flake coming up, this is critical, so what I'm doing is I'm preparing this striking area very, very particularly. But normally I'm just opportunistic. I'll look to see if it's good. Even if it would be better to take a flake somewhere else. If it's good, I'll take a flake there. As a new guy, you won't know that it's better to take it somewhere else. That it would be better to flake in another area. You don't know that if you're new. As you get more experienced, you'll find that out. That some areas are better to flake first than others. The procedure that I use is not necessarily the best one. As you get more experience, you'll know that, yeah, I'm taking a little bit of risk here and there, or I'll forget my own rules of thumb, or I'll go against my own rules of thumb every now and then. Like I might not attack the worst first. I might just be attacking something that bugs me. It's not even a big problem. It's not even close to being the worst. And I'll attack it first. If you're experienced, you'll notice that. But if you're not, you won't notice that. As far as I know. Now some guys are they've been spectators so long that even if they don't know how to nap, they know the best areas to strike. Because they've watched it over and over again. Now that's a funny thing, isn't it? They know what areas are really good to strike, even though they don't flint knap, because they've seen it over and over and over. They study the flaking, the actual procedure of flaking. They study it without doing it. So those guys will know that I deviate from my normal procedure. But you got to watch a ton of my videos. It still requires some experience. As a new guy, you won't know that. Oh, yep. Why is it important to know what you're not going to know? Because I'm telling you what you don't know. Figure that one out. Yeah. Telling you stuff you don't know. It's important to know what you don't know. Yeah. Now, how do I know you don't know it? Because of the questions I get. I get a ton of questions. A lot of them are repetitive, right? One of the most repetitive questions I get is, Can you slow down and tell me exactly why you're doing everything? What is your motivations behind everything? Can you slow it down and tell me? No. No, I'm not gonna slow it down and tell you, because I adjust my technique. So I can tell you one thing at one point, and then it'll be different as I go along, and you'll get confused. And you won't know it. You won't even know you're confused. You just think that you're unskilled. But actually it's confusing. You will be confused if you try to follow what I'm telling you. Because what I'm telling you is gonna change, because I'm changing my technique and adapting it to the edge. So I can do one thing for a particular problem 1 minute and do something different the next. One priority 1 minute, and then I'll shift the priorities on you, and you won't know why I did that. And sometimes I don't even know why I did that. Yeah, chomp on that one. Sometimes I don't know my motivations for doing these things. Chomp on that one for a little bit. Yeah. And you'll find out everything is clear as mud. Yeah. So that's why I don't tell you the motivations. I used to try to do it, but then I look back at my own videos and I'm cringing, because either I have moved away from that particular tactic, or I don't need to do it anymore, or I don't rely on it as much, or I just got a little bit better at it and I know the different subtleties, and I'm not explaining it well enough. Yeah, I look back at my videos and I'm saying to myself sometimes, I don't think I explained that well. I'll just leave it up anyway. You don't need to know what's going on as a napper. You just need to know that practice is the key. That's what you need to know. Practice is the key to success. Not knowing every single procedure. This is not like mathematical proofs where you have to know everything step by step in order to complete the proof. A lot of people are geared mentally that way. You have to know every step in the proof to come up with the answer or the proof. I know, I've been there. I used to prove mathematical solutions. But you don't have to do that in Flintknapping. And that's not how you should approach it either. In my opinion. If you want to approach it methodically and mechanically and all that, just go look at the flake over grind guys. Flake over grind, or FOG for short. FOG. And do that. You'll be a lot happier than random. I'm doing random in this video, and I do random in most videos. In fact, I can't think of one video where it's not random that I'm doing. I could be wrong on that. There could be one or two that maybe I wasn't doing random stuff. I don't remember. I got too many. I can't remember them all. And sometimes a guy will ask me a question and I know I did a video on it, but either the video is not called what he's looking for, or it's called what he's looking for, but it's not really done in the way that he's expecting it to be answered. Yeah. Because some people want to see a certain tool being used. Yeah, I want to answer, but I'm using this and this and that. Does that video cover this and this and that? I don't think so. I don't remember. So at this stage, I'm damage controlling. I'm trying to get rid of step fractures. If I can't pick it out, I'll blast it out with another flake without getting it too thin in that area. Yeah, you can blast away and try to get rid of defects, but then it gets way too thin sometimes, or it gets too small, or too narrow, or too something. Too flakery. There's too many flakes on the surface. It looks too flakery. You know, I don't like too much flakery going on. I like big bold flakes. Yeah, like that. So it's done. Just gotta do the edge. Get rid of all the grind marks on the edges. And yeah, I usually leave the base area or the stem area pretty thick. That's just my default way of doing it. It's not the best way. It should be matching the tip thinness. It should be the same thinness down there, but I tend to leave it thick down here. Why? I don't know. I just tend to do that, and I'll thin it later, which is a little bit dangerous because you can snap it in half by thinning it later. But yeah, I usually leave it thin. I think one of the reasons why I leave it thin is because if I put notches in it and it's too thin down here, that neck, this distance between the bottoms of the notches needs to be strong, and if it's not thick, that neck is going to it's going to snap during the notching or during something. Or when you haft it and you want to use it as something, it'll snap right there. It's not fun. I think that's one of the reasons, because I am one of those guys that actually does hafting of these things. I will actually haft them. I have to haft. I have to haft a lot of them, because I just want to see how they look when they're hafted. Okay, come on, camera. I know you're... Oh, there it is. It is still capable of doing the close-up. Okay, good. I'm using this spatula tool so I don't get crushing. Supposedly. It does still crush the edge, but not as bad as a rounded tool. Spatula tool, that's what this is. It's not a screwdriver, although you can try to use screwdrivers. The cheapy ones, the ones that are not extremely hardened steel. Some screwdrivers have a very good handle on them, right? So they're good as pressure flakers, but they can't be hardened steel. You can, if you're knowledgeable in this sort of thing, you can heat them up and soften the metal, I suppose, as long as you don't burn the handle or melt the handle. Yeah, you can melt the handle while you're heating the metal. You don't want to do that. You can get all fancy and remove the metal from the handle, but then you're getting into a lot of work. Might as well just insert a nail like I did into a piece of wood and not worry about all the other stuff. Right? Right. Now, Obsidian produces extremely sharp edges on flakes, but to intentionally sharpen an obsidian point is one of the most difficult things in flint knapping. It's irony. That's ironic. You want to snap every time you do a flake on obsidian on the edge. Snap. No crunchings. You want to snap every time you do a flake. And on that, this is downward pressure. That's it. Now that raises a question. I just thought of that, or thought of this. Are there any obsidian artifacts that are beveled? I need to take a look. I've told people if they want to make glass arrowheads, the easiest way to create an edge is to bevel it. But are there real obsidian artifacts with beveling? I need to take a look. I don't remember. I don't think I've ever done an obsidian point with beveling on it, ever. I wonder where that is. I don't remember seeing any beveled obsidian points in an archaeological record. Probably out there somewhere. Maybe a Dalton obsidian point with beveling somewhere. Oh, what did I do? Oh, you can see colors now. Look at that. Hey, that's nice. Some of you guys know what that is. What does that? I didn't even notice that earlier. Look at that. It's purple and green and stuff. Now that's cool. But light has to hit it. Yep, has to hit it that certain way. That way and that way. If I flip it, blah and blah. What happened? Now I got to flip it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Blah and blah. I laugh at myself. Yes, I do. So what do you call that? I don't know what you call this phenomenon. I just nap the stuff, okay? I just nap it. It's perhaps the slab was a slab to be that way, so that you can see the cool way the light is reflected off the obsidian. Yeah. So I lost the big piece from there. Let's zoom out again. Yeah. Whichever way it was, I don't know which way it was. Anyway, it was in there somewhere. So that's it. I tried to remove all of the dull areas as best I can. There's still some little areas that could be sharpened better. They're still kind of lumpy. Yeah, I can't do nothing about it. There's a point of diminishing returns when you use this spatula tool. Eventually, the edge gets too thick, and you're gonna start popping off flakes inwardly to thin it down. And you can do it with a spatula tool, but it requires a little bit of finesse. And if you're new, you don't have any finesse, so don't worry about it. What is it? It's a mysterious, magical thing. Yeah. You only gain it after a while. You don't gain it right away. If I put notches in this thing, it's going to be the same old. I still need to find... I did a point a long time ago that had a real cool shape to it with notches. I think they were corner notches. I can't remember them. That was an actual real point, but it's not that common. I can't remember the name. It's in the old Justice books. the ones that no one can get anymore because they're out of print. It's in the Arrowheads of the northwestern U.S. or something like that. Anyway, I just need to look in the book again as one of my errands. While I'm doing other errands, I get my books out. I don't always have my books readily available. I've got enough stuff piled up. Yeah, I got stuff piled over here on top to my right. And I added another shelf on top of that pile. And that's already filled up. I just added that shelf yesterday. So now I got two big piles of stuff and I still don't have room for my books. I used to have my books on the side, but now I have a bunch of stuff sitting there ready to be napped. Trying to do it step by step, organized. And I still end up doing random stuff. Like, yeah, just do a random obsidian slab. Yeah. How does a copper spatula tool work compared to the steel? I don't know yet, man. I just started. Okay, I just switched over like a second ago. It seems to be okay. It seems to grip the edge well. Yeah. Copper is king, I gotta admit. Yeah, it's a lot more grabby. Yeah. It does seat itself easier. Yeah. The steel is more slippery. But the copper, you're going to have to sharpen it or dress it up a lot more often. But it does grip better. Yeah. There's still some areas where I could have improved my flaking. Like there's a little step right there. Little step right there. This side looks pretty good. But there's always a good side and a bad side, so that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the camera seems to be working actually a little bit better. Smoother. Let's see if it does this weird focus thing. See, it was. I have 3 different cameras on the front of this phone, right? Or the back of the phone, whatever. And it was skipping. Like if I'd get close and then it'll go bzz, and then I go far away, it'll go bzz. There's a little jump between cameras, but now it's nice and smooth. I don't know if it's in the settings or what. Probably in the settings, and when I factory reset it, it went back to the settings that are not stupid like the ones I had. I must have hit a button that was stupid. I have a tendency to do that. That button looks pretty interesting. Let's stupidify it. Let's make it so it makes you miserable. Let's just try it, and then you forget what you just tried, and then you don't know what's going on. What did I do? Did I actually push a button or not? I don't remember. And then you try to unpush buttons and you go, I don't know. If I unpush too many buttons, then I get rid of something that's good. Anybody else have that problem? No? Yeah, I know. See, if I were to make a point out of this, I might reduce this tip a lot. You know, thin it down a lot. But right now it's good for a preform or a refined biface. I call these refined bifaces. I did a bunch of refined bifaces yesterday, but I didn't get them on video. It's a little bit of eye candy for you. So these are all in like the same category, except the city one got smaller. Oh well. This is heat treated swirly Georgia chert. I call it swirly. I don't know what they call it. Maybe Jeff can enlighten me, because I have no enlightenment when it comes to what these things are called. Yeah, don't. And people ask me all the time, "What's this called? Can I send you a picture? What is it exactly? I need to know. I need to know the name, because if I don't know the name, I'm lost." I'm out in limbo. I know. I feel for you. You know. I don't care about the names, but I can see the suffering when people don't know the names of stuff. Yeah, they suffer a lot. I don't like to see suffering, even though I sometimes make you suffer. I don't like seeing it. I just think sometimes it's funny. Yeah, it can be both funny and then tragic at the same time. Or, you know, I can sympathize, but still make fun of it. Right? Or no? Yeah, I'm looking at this one because I might make another arrowhead out of this one. But it looks a little bit too thin to skin off that area effectively. Yeah, might not be a good idea. All right, so that's it. I'll take a thumbnail and we'll be done. All right. Yeah, I'm happy that I got my camera and my phone stuff figured out. That's not even good. I need the light back. I need to show the nice colors, maybe. Yeah. Maybe it'll show up. Okay. Yeah, is that called iridescent? An iridescent type of obsidian? We shall see. All right. That's it.